In this video, we're going to talk about independent writing, and I'm going to show you how to write an essay. Toefl independent writing, writing an essay. In this video lesson, I'll give you a description of the independent writing task. We'll see some sample essay questions. We'll learn a super useful essay structure. Then I'll show you exactly how to write an introduction, how to write body paragraphs, and how to write the conclusion. So let's start with the basics. What do you have to do in the independent writing task? And there are basically three things. You'll be asked either to give your opinion, express a preference, or describe or explain something. Now, of these three options, by far the most common one is the first one, give your opinion. You always need to write a minimum of 300 words in response to the prompt, and you have 30 minutes to do that. So let's have a look at some sample questions, and remember that there are those three possible categories. So the first one, the most common one, is give your opinion. Here's a typical opinion prompt. It says, do you agree or disagree with the following statement? A teacher's ability to relate well with students is more important than excellent knowledge of the subject being taught. Use specific reasons and examples to support your opinion. Now, this final sentence here, use specific reasons and examples, you'll find that sentence at the end of every question in Toefl independent writing. So obviously, in here, we've got an opinion. A teacher's ability to relate well with students is more important than knowledge. And the question to you is, do you agree or disagree? So a classic opinion prompt here. Here's another type of question, the preference question. Now in this one, you'll be presented with two different views, or maybe three, and asked for your own opinion. For example, some people prefer being taught by a teacher who is an expert in their field. So that's the first side, the first view. Others prefer a teacher with whom they can relate. That's the second view. And then the question to you, which type of teacher do you prefer? And there's our sentence, as always, at the end. Use specific reasons and details to support your answer. Now, the third type of question is to describe or explain. Now, think back to high school. This kind of question is probably something you wrote when you were in high school. Here's an example. Perceptions of a good teacher vary across cultures. Now, this type of question usually starts with a kind of background statement like that before getting into the question. According to you, what are some characteristics of a good teacher? Okay, so that's the question to you. Basically, describe a good teacher and use specific reasons and details to support your answer. So that's it. There are three possibilities: opinion, preference, or describe, explain. Now, regardless of what type of question you get, there's a structure that you can use in all cases, and this is it. Every good essay needs at least 4 paragraphs, starting with the introduction, then 2 bodies, and a conclusion. The introduction generally has 3 parts: a background sentence, the prompt but in different words, and a thesis statement. That is, what's your opinion, or what's your essay going to talk about? And sometimes both of them together. When it comes to the body paragraphs, look at these first letters, P, E, E, L. Keep that in your mind, peel. That will help you to plan good body paragraphs. P is for point, your topic sentence, your main idea. E is your explanation of that point. The other E is the example or evidence. And then L is your link back to the topic. So body 1, body 2, into the conclusion, usually 2 parts. Summarize the argument, summarize the reasons. This is a very standard essay convention, and you'll see this all the time when you come to our live classes. Let's see a sample prompt now. Let's read. Do you agree or disagree with the following statement? So I've chosen here the most common question type, opinion question. Do you agree or disagree with the following statement? A teacher's ability to relate well with students is more important than excellent knowledge of the subject being taught. Use specific reasons and examples. So of course, we're going to follow our structure. Now, before you start writing, it's really important to spend a couple of minutes making a plan. This will make sure that you think clearly about your ideas, that you link them to the topic, and that you are able to develop them. If you don't plan, you run the risk of writing an incoherent, repetitive mess. So to make your plan, keep this structure in mind. So here's the question again, and let me step you through my plan. So for the intro, I've got my background sentence, rewording the question, and then my thesis statement. So the background statement that I want to make is that teachers are influential figures in people's lives. Now, rewording the prompt, I'm looking up here. A teacher's ability to relate is more important than excellent knowledge of the subject. When I reword the prompt, I'm going to flip that around a little bit and say some people think subject knowledge is the most important. But in my thesis statement, I'm going to say I agree with the prompt that a teacher's ability to relate with students or the relationship they have is more important than their knowledge of the subject being taught. So the first point I want to make in my body one is that when a teacher has a good relationship with a student, it leads to better performance. Why? Because when we like someone, so when the student likes the teacher, they try to impress them. For example, we may be more motivated and will make more of an effort to do well. Link back to the topic. Because students don't want to disappoint their teacher, they work harder and therefore perform better. So on to body two now. And my second point, or my second reason why the teacher-student relationship is more important than teacher knowledge. So here I want to say that this relationship means that students are more open to learning. This is because the teacher's job is not only to impart academic material, but also to provide emotional support, mental stimulation for their students. For example, when a student feels comfortable with a teacher, they can talk about anything, and this supportive environment can lead to better learning. Finally, my conclusion, I'll wrap it all up. A relatable teacher is better for the two reasons that were mentioned before. So the plan is quite simple. You can do it very quickly, but it really helps you to organize your ideas and make sure that you're answering the question exactly. So let's have a look at the introduction. I'm going to show you my example. Feel free to pause the video if you want to have a go yourself. Let's go through these 3 steps. I'm going to start with my background sentence. Besides our parents, teachers are arguably the most influential figures guiding us through our formative years. I'm going to reword the question here. This part. Some believe that excellent subject knowledge is the most important quality in a teacher. Notice that I've twisted the question the opposite way around, which is totally fine. Then my thesis statement, what do I think? In my opinion, however, it is a teacher's ability to relate with his or her students that is most important. And this essay will explain why. It's a very clear opinion in the introduction. From here we get on to body one, our first main point. Let's go. Contrary to the belief that teachers need to be experts in their subjects, evidence shows that students actually learn more when they like their teacher. My explanation. We want to impress people we like. So when a student likes a teacher, they also want the teacher to like them. For example, studies have shown that this is linked to longer attention spans and to higher levels of student motivation. So notice how that example really supports my point that a good relationship with a teacher improves student performance. And then my link back to the topic. So having a teacher they like means that students will put in the effort to make sure that they don't disappoint their teacher. And here's the full paragraph. We're on to body two, the second point, second reason for my opinion. Here's my main point. Secondly, students feel more comfortable with a teacher they can relate to, and therefore they will be more open to learning. Explain a bit more. Further evidence for this is that teachers are not just there to impart academic knowledge, but also to support their students' mental and emotional development. For instance, teachers who relate well to their students will be more successful in reaching their students on a deeper level, as students will be more willing to approach them if they have an academic or personal problem. Now let's link back to the topic. This supports the idea that the best learning happens in a supportive environment. Therefore, providing this is more important than expert knowledge. So at the end there, we've really wrapped up the main point and made sure that we go back to the question directly. Here's the full body too. Notice also that there are 4 parts to the paragraph: point, explain, example, link, but there may be more than 4 sentences. So in this case, the explanation has actually 2 sentences and the example 2 sentences. So you're not restricted to just writing 4 sentences per paragraph. On to the conclusion, the final part now. Just 2 sentences here is enough. Summarise the argument. In conclusion, in my view, when it comes to teachers, knowledge isn't everything. And then a little more detail, summarise the reasons. The most memorable teachers are those who know how to really reach their students and are well liked and respected. These are the teachers who really make a lasting impact. So here is the full essay, and it would score very well because it deals with the question directly, has a great range of vocabulary and grammar, and it's logically organised and connected. If you're ready now to practice on your own, make sure you come and join us on e2language.com. Once you log in, go to the course materials and to the independent writing task section. You can also put your skills to the test by taking our mini Toefl mock test here. This will give you a really good indication of what your Toefl score will be. Plus you get writing feedback, speaking feedback, a score report with comments from the teachers, and you get to practice with exam-like tasks. So now it's over to you. It's time to practice. Go on with the activities after this lesson.